Hey there, and welcome to the Do Life Big podcast. This podcast is going to be your jam if you want to live to your full potential and don't believe in half-assing anything in your life. If we want to do life big, that means we've got to get out of our own way because we only have this one shot to make it awesome. I'm your host, Kathy, and I'm a mom of three whose BFF is cold brew, a retired school teacher turned online entrepreneur, and an author. I'm loud, bold, and will always keep it real. I'm determined to live my best freaking life possible, and I'm here to help you do the same. I'll be packing this podcast with tips, motivation, inspiration, and strategies to finally get you where you want to go. And we will have a ton of laughter along the way because, let's be honest, we can't ever take ourselves too seriously, right? I'm so excited you are here with me today. Now let's get this party started. Hey, my friend, what is up? And welcome back to another episode of Do Life Big. Super excited to have you here again today. Today's episode, we are going to be talking, I'm going to be sharing with you a personal story, a situation of how fear can really get the best of you and keep you from going after what you really want to go after. It prevents you from taking that action toward it because you are so wrapped up in the fear of all the negative things that could and might happen. But before I dive into this episode, I just wanted to let you know that very soon, my signature program, the Mindset Accelerator program, is going to be opening up for enrollment. And what this means is that you will have the opportunity to learn about this program, work with me as your mindset coach, go through this program to be able to help your business grow to the next level so you can get that consistent revenue in your business while being and developing into a really confident leader. Now, if you want to be the first to hear when the doors to this program will be open, just go to themindsetaccelerator.com. I will make sure that link is in the show notes and just click the link, put your name on there. And then as soon as the doors are open, you will be the first to be notified. Keep in mind, I only open the doors to this enrollment a few times a year, and the doors are only open for a week at a time. So click that link, get on in there, and you'll be the first to hear all about it. All right, let's dive in here now. Let's just get to the good stuff here. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about this. The other day, I was really getting up all in my head and I was driving myself crazy. And I just was filled with all this fear because of this situation with my son's school. And the story kind of goes like this. So my son, Landon, he is in 7th grade. He's 12. And at the end of this year, the entire 7th grade class is going to be taking this 3-night trip to Tennessee. And now we're in Florida. So they will be taking a bus from the school to the Tampa airport, flying from there to Tennessee, getting on a coach bus, going to the hotel, and doing all this really fun stuff for the 3 days while they are there. Now, my first immediate reaction is like, oh my God, I have to be able to go there with him because he kind of tends to be the kind of kid who likes to, just be at home a lot. Like I always have to kind of encourage him to get out and it's okay and do the thing. So he's never really even done like any sleepovers or anything like that. And he doesn't really want to. Like we're the ones that always have the sleepovers at our house. And he did do a trip last year with his 6th grade class, which was at some dude ranch in Florida for one night. And even that I was really nervous about. And I was like, listen, Nick, that's my husband. I'm like, don't we have like a tracker or something that we can put on him so I will know where he is at all times? And so my husband's like, yeah, you can do an air tag. You can attach an air tag to him. And I was like, okay, but it was like this big thing. And he really didn't want to go to that either. And I was like, you have to go. These trips that they do as a class at this school aren't really negotiable. It's pretty much like you're expected to go. And that's just the way it is. And so now this year, it's this 3-night thing. And I'm like, oh my God, are you kidding me? Like last year was bad enough, but at least it was in Florida. Now he's got to get on a plane and go all the way to Tennessee for 3 nights. Now, I didn't freak out like this in front of him because I didn't want him to, sense the nervousness. But he immediately is like, Mom, I'm not going. And I'm like, Landon, you're going. And I said, it's going to be fine. It's going to be so much fun. And he's like, I'm only going if you can go or Dad can go and, stay in a hotel or something near me. And so the sick thing about this is I was like, fine, I'll go. I'll just get myself my own little Airbnb or my own little hotel room right near his. I won't be able to see them or do anything with them, but that's okay. In case something goes wrong, at least mommy will be right there. So in the meantime, I also email the school and ask, can parents volunteer? To which they said, no, they can't. We already have our 8 chaperones who are the teachers of the middle school, and it's all squared away. And there's going to be a chaperone for every group of students, and there's going to be 4 students to each hotel room, and yada, yada, yada. But in my mind, I was like, oh my God, I have to be able to find a way to get there. And I'm not going to go stalk him down the trails of the mountains as he's hiking or anything like that. That'd go over real well. Can you see that? Like, what is that, a bear? No, it's my mom. Talk about total embarrassment. I was just going to be there just in case. I was thinking, like, I know that chances are everything will probably be fine, right? And I don't like to let my mind go to the fearful side often, but I am only human and it happens. But my mind was like, okay, what if he like breaks his ankle on a trail or going to see the waterfall and then he goes to the hospital or the emergency room and I'm down here in Florida? It's not like I can just hop in my car and drive there and be there in 45 minutes to an hour. It's like I got to get on a plane, I got to fly there. I mean, it's going to take a whole day. At least if I just rent myself a little Airbnb, I'll be right there. And by the way, this whole entire time while I'm sharing all of this with my husband, he's like, Kathy, you realize that this really does sound crazy. Like, listen, I don't care if it sounds crazy because you know what? If something goes wrong, I will be right there. And as I was going down this whole path, like I was thinking all of this stuff the other day while I was doing my 45-minute walk along the beach for my 75 hard program that I'm doing, which as I'm recording this, I'm currently on day 12 of 75, going strong. Thank you very much. Hasn't been easy, but I'm doing it one day at a time. Had a dream about alcohol, a little side note last night, was touching every single bottle in the liquor store and was trying to find my captain. I was just so excited to be there like a kid in a candy shop, knocked every single bottle off the shelf. Anyways, we digress. So I was thinking about this whole entire fearful side of my mind where it was going, thinking about Landon going that far away from me. What if something happens and I'm here and he's there and he doesn't even want to go that far alone? And I'm doing this in my mind over and over again as I'm walking along the beach the other day with Nick for doing our 45 minutes of exercise. And then I started thinking, God, like how often do we do this to ourselves just in general? Like how often do we self-sabotage ourselves and we miss out on opportunities because we let our own fear get the best of us? And I started really thinking about really what even is this fear? Like, what is fear in general? And all it is really you imagining a negative outcome for something that hasn't even happened yet. And we do this all the time. Like, we're only human. As you can see, I was just doing it with my son with this whole trip to Tennessee. And we start to focus on, well, what if this doesn't work? Or what if I look stupid? Or what if I get rejected? What if? And we spend all of our time and energy focusing on all the things that could go wrong. And then when we do that, we're never confident enough and excited enough to even bother taking the risk or to take the chance, whatever it may be. I mean, think about your life right now. We all have that one thing. And if you want to think about like fear as a door, for example, right? If fear is on the other side of that door, you're walking down the hallway and that fear is at the end of that hallway behind that door, chances are your logical mind isn't going to open the door, right? Because that what you fear is on the other side. So you don't even bother opening it. And then I started thinking, how many doors have we chosen not to open because of our own fear? How many opportunities have we missed because we've let our mind get the best of us? How many ideas and dreams and visions have we had that we just let die within us because we're too scared to take action, because we let this fear just consume us? And we don't even bother putting our hand on that doorknob to that door and opening it because in our mind, it's like, don't do it because you might not be good enough. Don't do it. You might fail. Don't do it. You don't really know what you're doing in this area, or you could look stupid, or what are others going to say and think about you? And so you just keep walking right by that door. And the last thing that we want while we're here on this earth is to be, at the end of our life, looking back, thinking about all the doors that we left closed that we didn't even bother opening because of this fear. And it was all because we were choosing to focus on something negative happening as an outcome. A whole made up story, a negative story about what could go wrong if we happen to open that door. And so then I started thinking, well, what we need to do and what I need to do in this little, Tennessee trip thing that I was talking about with my son is we need to flip the script. If we're going to spend so much time and energy focusing on what could go wrong and looking stupid or being rejected, which, side note, I heard this once and it really stuck with me, and I want you to write this down and keep it. Rejection is just redirection. And that really stuck with me because what that means is every time that you're rejected, you are led closer and closer to what's meant for you and what the right path is. And so whenever you get rejected in any area of your life, don't feel sorry for it. Be happy about it. Be grateful for it because it's moving you closer and directing you closer to what's meant for you. So anyways, I said, what about if we could flip the script? If we're going to spend all this time, right, thinking about all the things that could go wrong, why not take that energy and focus on all the things that could go right? Right? What if you started telling yourself a story about all the things that could go right? And you know what? Instead of that door having a doorknob and actually giving you the option to walk up to it and be like, should I open it or should I not open it? I probably shouldn't open it because on the other side of that could be really scary and I could get let down and I could get rejected and this might not work the way I wanted it to. What if instead of the door actually having a doorknob, it was like an automatic door? Like when you walk into Target, right? You walk on the mat as you get up to the automatic door and boom, the door flies open and there's everything that you want right there. And it's working out for you in your best interest, working better than you could have ever imagined. And you have no choice but to go through that door because you stepped on the mat and the doors are open and you're in it. And then I was like, why can't we and why don't we start to approach life just like that? With every idea and every dream and every vision that we have, you're standing on the automatic doormat and the doors are opening and you're going to choose to focus on what if this works out in my best interest for me? What good could come from this? And then you really start thinking about it and how it could really change things for your life. Even think about this in terms of your own business. If you run a business, right? We have so many fears running a business. And you might fear just asking for help because you don't want to look like you don't know what you're doing. You don't want to look like you're incompetent. So you pretend like you have it all together all the time, even though you're like, shit, I really need help. But I'm supposed to be an expert in this area. So I don't really want to ask for help. So I'm just going to sink over here on the sidelines and I won't let anybody know. We fear raising our prices because then like, oh my gosh, well, if I raise my price, which this is all rooted in your worthiness and your product and how this can actually change somebody's life, right? But we have all these fears about raising the prices, going live if you're on social media, even writing a post with your own voice, showing your face, talking behind the camera, running the call, running the training, writing that email, launching the program, writing the book, whatever it is. And we don't do any of those things because we're letting this fear consume us. But we're not going to do that anymore. From now on, we are going to make the conscious effort to notice when we're doing that. Notice when we're letting our own limiting stories rob us of these opportunities. We're going to notice this, and then we're going to stop, and then we're going to flip the script. And we're going to say things like, you know what? Everything's going to be great when my son goes on this trip to Tennessee. This is going to be awesome for him. This is going to be such a great experience for him. It's going to create more independency and creativity for him. He's going to have more bonds with his friends and his entire 7th grade class. He's going to have so many incredible experiences and create all these memories from this one 3-night trip to Tennessee that he wouldn't have had otherwise. And he will remember this for the rest of his life. This will probably be one of the most important and special trips that he takes because it's so unique. And how exciting is that for him to have this opportunity? And see what happens when you start to tell yourself that different story and you start to flip the script about all the good things that could happen, it's not that you're not being naive to, of course, things could go wrong. Things are going to always go wrong. This is real life. Shit happens, right? As my mom says, shit happens. But if we focus on that and we let it consume us and we let our fear take over us, it robs us of the opportunity of really going after the things that we have on our heart. And I don't know about you, but I really don't like to live life with regret. And I know that if you're someone who's listening to this podcast, Do Life Big, that you're someone who wants to improve. You want to be better. You want to think better. You want to rewire your brain for success. You want to be able to see opportunity. You want to understand that with everything, it's risk versus reward, right? And you want to focus on getting better and better and better so that you can really live your best life with no regrets. And so from this day going forward, I just want you to stop for a second and I want you to think about what that thing is. What's that door that you've been standing in front of that you've been scared to open? What is that door for you right now? Is it the conversation you know you need to have with someone? Is it the next launch that you've been putting off with your business because you're afraid no one's going to show? Is it the book that you wanted to write? Is it raising your prices for your business? What is it for you? And I want you to get rid of the door. And instead, I want you to put a nice automatic door in front of you. And you're standing on the mat. And I want you to just go. And go into those doors with an open mind, filled with positivity, filled with gratitude, filled with endless possibilities of amazing things that are going to come from being brave enough to take that action to actually go for it. Instead of being so scared and consumed by your fear of it not working. You know, when shit goes sideways, we'll deal with it when it happens. But we're not going to focus on that. We're going to focus on, hey, but you know what? What if this does work out for me? What could this do for me, for my family, for everybody else around me who I love and care about? What's the good that can come from it? So I'm curious to hear what that door is for you, what that dream is, what that idea is, whatever it is that you've been saying, I'm not opening that door. I'm curious to hear what it is. I'd love it if you shared this episode on social media, tagged me, Catherine Reuter, and just kind of let me know what that door was for you or what like your favorite part of this episode was. So I hope that you enjoyed today's episode. Like I said, if you loved it, please share it with a friend. Tag me on social media. I love all the positive feedback from everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for tuning in. You know I love you, and I think you're awesome. And I will see you the next time. Bye. Thanks so much for listening in. I really appreciate you choosing to spend your time here with me today. You totally rock. Hey, listen, if you loved today's episode, go ahead and tag me on social and go share this with a friend right now. Like, do it immediately before the day gets ahead of you and you totally forget. Couldn't be more pumped to be on this journey with you guys. Go make today awesome, and I will see you the next time.